You just came from a protest today, Monday, down in Los Angeles over the jailing of Attorney Fine. I don't understand why he's in jail and not the judges that broke the law. How do you understand that Attorney Fine, I don't understand how Attorney Fine could be thrown in jail because he won't give his financial disclosure.
Well, that's correct. Let me lay a little background. There's a case out here in California called Sturgeon versus LA County. And what that's about is in the late 80s, I believe, the state took over the California county judges and made all of them state employees. They then assumed the obligation to pay their salaries and benefits. Well, LA County and a few other counties continued to pay the judges their benefits despite the state paying them. So essentially they were getting double benefits. And you wonder why that happened, because why are judges getting this extra pay? It seems like they're becoming royalty. Meanwhile, we're closing courtrooms and laying off court staff and increasing court fees while these judges are getting double benefits. They say that they have to do that to retain the talented judges or get these judges to take the positions. Well, in fact, these county judges are now being paid more than the U.S. Supreme Court judges, more than the Chief Justice. And so these are public servants. If they don't want to serve, if they want to make money, they should go into the private sector. And so what happens is we're inverting the sovereignty of our country, and our servants are becoming our masters, and we're becoming their servants. And so in this Sturgeon case that Richard Fine was involved in, and Judicial Watch, they brought a lawsuit saying that this was unconstitutional. The initial case, all of the LA County judges recused themselves because they had a conflict of interest. Then it went to an outside judge who ruled in favor of the judges and largely ignored the constitutional issue. It was then appealed, and the appellate court overruled that ruling and in fact found it was unconstitutional. The judges then took it up to the Supreme Court of California, who declined to hear it, and so by default the appellate decision stands that these payments were unconstitutional. That means they were an unlawful act, and so those people that these payments were unconstitutional, unlawful act. That did that should suffer some penalties for that, possibly jail. And so those people that did that should suffer some penalties for that, possibly jail, possibly jail, possibly jail. But certainly they should have to explain why they did that. And moreover, these judges then have gotten unlawful compensation and should have to return that money back to the people. But instead what the judges did is hired a lobbyist at $10,000 a month and went up to Sacramento, while our legislature is way behind in passing a budget and even further behind in balancing the budget. We're facing a $42 billion deficit here in the state. So in the dark of night, our legislature almost unanimously, it was a pretty favorable vote, passed a bill to allow the county and other counties to continue to give judges double benefits, and on top of that gave them retroactive immunity. Our legislature 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 gave them retroactive immunity. So we cannot go after these people that violated the law, violated the Constitution, in fact served the judges instead of the people. Now Richard Fine is an attorney that has brought a bunch of taxpayer lawsuits and retrieved a lot of money and stopped a lot of illegal acts on behalf of government against the people. He's done that to the governor, he's done that to the legislature. Well, now he's joined this Sturgeon lawsuit, and in fact he brought a case before that that identified this issue, and the judges don't like it. Now again, all of LA County recused themselves and from the Sturgeon case, but what's awful is when all of these cases that are brought in the county where the county is a party, these judges have a duty to disclose that they are getting these double benefits because the county is like their benefactor. And the duty to disclose is even greater than the duty to disqualify. Yet these judges did not disqualify themselves in these lawsuits. Then Richard Fine also did some research and found that just about every case, if not every case, in which the county was a party, they ended up winning the case.
It's getting almost $100,000 a year more than your congressperson. That gives you what is happening. Now, what do you think is going to happen when a case from the county comes in and this judge is looking at it? He's throwing the case. Now, that's not me saying that because we got some documents. Because starting from 2005, so the county council came out with documents that would show a cost analysis of what happened to county cases. For the last quarter of 2005, not one case that was decided by a judge in the LA Superior Court was decided against LA County. Not one case that was decided by a judge in the LA Superior Court was decided against LA County. For the year 2006 to 2007, not one case decided by an LA County judge was decided against LA County. In the year 2007 to 2008, they got a little bit smarter. They didn't give us good statistics. So we know that the cases that have come in have basically been thrown. Now, how does all this fit together? Well, what happened, as Shirley mentioned, in 1997 and 1998, I brought the first cases with respect to the budget. And in 1998, I got an injunction. And that injunction closed down the entire government of California, albeit for a day. But it closed it down the next day, and that injunction said that when the state didn't have a budget, they couldn't pay anyone, including the judges. The next day, they passed an emergency bill for $19 billion to keep the government going. As that case wended its way through the courts, in 2003, we got up to the California Supreme Court, and that's when the Supreme Court held that when the state doesn't have a budget, they can't pay anyone.
And so what we have here is skewed justice, or actually injustice, and clearly going down the line of corruption. And so Richard Fine is the messenger, and they don't like the message.
So they put him in jail to shut him up and stop the message. That's the essence of it.
That's part of it. I don't know the exact particulars in his case, but it's something to do with the attorney's fees in the case. One thing they'll do in a lot of these cases is punish attorneys in many ways. They'll stop your case from getting to the jury. They'll terminate the case before trial. They'll make rulings on evidence during trial that allows you not to present your case, and you won't prevail. And it's not only when government is a party, it's the well-connected, the wealthy. A lot of these judges can be bought off and bribed. Back in the...
Whoa. You're saying that Los Angeles County judges can be bought off and bribed?
Yeah, I myself have had a few cases where I think that in fact happened. But back in the...
But you can't prove it. It's just all the circumstances look that way.
Well, it would be even more than that, but then you go to these agencies like the State Bar and the Commission on Judicial Performance and ask them to investigate these, and they hardly ever do. What you have to understand is misconduct occurs all the time, but the question is, what do those empower the hierarchy? What do they do about it? One example we just had in the Catholic Church about the pedophile priest. And that was an example of the hierarchy for years, sweeping it under the rug, ignoring it, and allowing people to get harmed, where rather than identifying the issue, properly dealing with it, compensating victims, they would transfer these pedophile priests to other locations, deny it, and allow them to then molest other people. Now, that's what happens a lot of times in government. Government, when misconduct occurs, they sweep it under the rug. And the only time they actually act is when it becomes an embarrassment. They don't see the light until they feel the heat.
For the year 2006 to 2007, not one case decided by an LA County judge was decided against LA County.